This video is sponsored by OWC. This is the new StudioDock from Kensington, and it's now available for the iPad Pro in both the larger 12.9-inch and 11-inch models. And since it's available for that 11-inch model, that means it also works with the latest generation iPad Air. For me, I'm using it with the 12.9-inch iPad Pro, and since it is larger, I could technically use this with a smaller iPad as well. It does look a little weird with the extra space, but it does still work. Anyways, in this video, I'm going to show you why this is one of, if not the best iPad Pro power user accessory. If you use your iPad Pro professionally or just daily for work and you like it docked at your desk, this is something that you need to check out. So let's first start with the thing that caught my eye, and that's the design. Yes, it looks really similar to the Pro Display XDR stand. Unfortunately, it's not entirely made up of that high quality aluminum that the XDR stand is made up of, but it's pretty close. Now the back panel is made up of plastic, which isn't really a big deal, but the rest of it is pretty heavy and cool to the touch and just looks really nice. So let's run through all of the features. And yes, the dock is pretty pricey, coming in at $399, but there's so much that you can do with it that it might be worth it for you docked iPad Pro users out there. So the bottom panel here acts as a wireless charging base for either two phones or a pair of AirPods and your iPhone at the same time, but the charging doesn't stop there. If you're willing to give up one of your USB-C ports, the one that's located right where you plug your iPad in, you can actually plug in an optional Apple Watch adapter and charge pretty much your entire Apple ecosystem on one dock. It's super easy to put on and take off, and it's a really cool bonus. Speaking of where your iPad sits, the slab of rubber where you actually just put the iPad on, it's actually magnetic. So your iPad Pro will stick to this base, but it does need to be plugged into the USB-C connector here. But it's nice to have that extra bit of support, especially with the larger iPad, so that you don't actually drop it while you're plugging it in. You can rotate your iPad into landscape, obviously, but also portrait mode and even up and down for the perfect viewing angle. The hinge is actually so sturdy that you can even write on your iPad without having to worry about it moving all over the place. And it's really cool. It's a high quality design right here. Then you have your ports, and wow, there are lots of I/O options here for something that plugs into your iPad. So on one side of the stand, you have a USB-C port right beside the power button that turns your StudioDock on or off. The other side is where your built-in SD card reader lives, as well as a 3.5mm headphone jack. Something that you don't actually get on the iPad Pro itself. And so if you use a 3.5mm headphone jack, it's nice to know that you'll be getting that back. Then on the back of the StudioDock, we have a gigabit Ethernet port, 3 USB Type-A ports, 1 HDMI 2.0 port capable of outputting 4K 60, and finally your DC 20-volt port to power everything up. There are also 2 Kensington locks available for that extra added security. That's a lot of connectivity and flexibility for a dock that looks this nice. It's also worth noting that your iPad Pro will charge pretty quickly at 37.5 watts to be specific, and the AirPods section of the wireless charger will charge at 5 watts, while the other spot that's designated for your iPhone is good for 7.5 watts. Honestly, this dock has been really good to use so far. I really don't have any other complaints aside from the price tag. It's pretty expensive, and again, it's just not going to be for those who are not a heavy iPad Pro user, especially if you don't use it at your desk a lot. If you're on the go, then you might want to take that money and spend it towards something like the Magic Keyboard. But if you have your own extra wireless keyboard and mouse that you want to use docked at your desk, and you already have some sort of setup, this will definitely take it to the next level. So again, perfect for those who do a lot of design work, you write code, production work, or maybe it's just your only computer. Your iPad Pro is your daily computer and you use it at a desk all the time. This is something that makes the most sense and definitely worth investing in my opinion. Of course, I'd love to know your thoughts on this dock. What do you think? Would you consider picking one of these up? I know it's a little bit expensive, but would love to know your thoughts in the comments down below. Now, before we end today's video, I do want to give you more information about today's sponsor, OWC. OWC just released a new drive earlier this year called the Envoy Pro FX, and it's the company's fastest, most compatible, waterproof, ultra rugged drive to date. It's basically plug and play on all devices: Mac, Windows, Chromebook, or Surface devices, and even works with your iPad Pro. You'll get blazing fast speeds via Thunderbolt, and did I mention that it's incredibly durable? I mean, not only is it waterproof, but its aluminum housing makes it very resistant to any potential damage to the drive, but more importantly, it's incredibly portable, and really just the perfect all-around option for audio, video, photography, whatever the case may be. The Envoy Pro FX will have you covered. Now, for more information about this product or anything else that OWC has to offer, click the link in the description down below. This has been Dan with Mac Rumors. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope to see you around in the next video.